right, Savanah Tujague comes back. The social media presence, I guess. I guess that's what it is for
How about content creator?
content creator. There we go. I like that better.
Same.
This one is just going to be off the cuff. This is just a getting back into swing of things. I was shocked that I remember how to turn on my camera and stuff. I don't mess with it. I don't have time anymore.
No, I hear you.
Uh,
100%.
oh yeah. So I remember last time we talked, there was a couple things I probably never got to, and you kind of hinted on it. Was we talked about you growing up as a coach's kid? Like,
For
did I
sure.
ever ask you like challenges of that? I cannot remember. Like, what would be a challenge of like a dad coaching football? Because like I'm an Illinois guy, so I'm watching Final Four stuff like that, Elite Eight. Brad Underwood talked about it. He was like, I never saw my kid. I was on the road all of July. He was like, I was a JUCO guy. I was this, I was that. I never saw my wife. I never saw my kid. And he finally gets to the Final Four and he's like, I love it, but I also regret a lot of decisions made. So I was just curious.
That's so interesting because I know that, like, again, and I don't know basketball that well, so correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure. No, it was actually Michigan State football coach. I'm pretty sure it was football coach who like basically quit because he was like, dude, I don't see my family. I don't do any of this,
Mhm.
and it's just time to be done. And I'll say this, and I do talk about this a lot. And to be honest, I love the question because the most important thing to me about posting like part of my life online is this exact topic. And I could really go on and on, so I'll try to keep it brief. But a couple things. One, I think being a college coach at any level, at any school, at any sport, you can absolutely still be an incredible dad and be there for your wife and kids. And if you can't, quite frankly, the answer is that you are working for a head coach who you shouldn't be working for. Because all the best head coaches have always made it a priority that like family is a very important thing. It's one of my favorite things about Coach Dorn is that I have never felt like I wasn't invited to something. I could show up at the facility anytime and I feel welcome. And that man talks to me and asks me about my life and asks me about things that are important to me. And I know I've said this before, but like, he doesn't need to do that. I don't live in Raleigh. I just am there to support my dad when I can. And it's just really impressive to me how much he like cares about letting and making sure that my dad has time to like see us. A great example is coming up, I bought my family for Christmas Luke Combs tickets. We're
Oh,
all going
no.
together. We're gonna like be in the pit, have the whole experience. And there's only so many days, obviously, that there's Luke Combs concerts. So it's unfortunately a day that my dad does have a recruiting trip. Asked Coach Dorn if he could like leave a little early that night to do the family thing that like is super important. And it's not like my dad regularly asks for time off. So I don't want people thinking that either. But like, I don't know the exact words that were exchanged, but it was something along the lines of like, absolutely, that's very important, right? Being a family guy is just as much of an example to players as being a coach. So that so when guys say like, oh, it's really hard and I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that, yeah, absolutely. My dad didn't come to any of my soccer games in college. He didn't come to my college graduation because he was trying to get a huge recruit. He's been to two of my brother's college football games, his bowl game and on his bye week. Like, watching your son play at your alma mater last year or play college football, and you miss out on all of that. So there is hard parts, but I think there's ways around it. Another great example, I am racing this Friday with a friend of mine, and my parents really wanted to surprise me, but it's the last practice of spring ball. I race in the afternoon, and a spring ball practice is at night. So my parents sent me flowers. They were like, good luck in your race. Like, it's literally that easy to be a good dad if you're a coach. It's
Mhm.
literally that easy. But another, I guess, challenge wise is yeah. I always tell people this, like, I grew up poor and they think I'm kidding because they see my life now and it's not giving poor. And if you've ever lived off of a GA salary, which is $0, you know what it's like to be poor, because my mom couldn't work because she had me. My dad was a GA. So his education was paid for, but he didn't make any money. And so to provide for me and my mom, he would work graveyard shifts at a trucking company and pick parts. So he'd go to school all day, do football the rest of the day, and then work graveyards. And he made it work. And I am forever indebted to that man for showing me that like hard work really can pay off. And it's like one of the best examples in my life. But growing up poor builds character. So I don't regret it at all.
Yeah, no, I don't think people realize that either, is the GA stuff. Like, I think we talked about it last time where guys see, oh, I either get my school paid for like $800 a month. Like, I'm not doing this. And what they don't realize is you kind of have to do that unless, you know, you're in Texas and you've won 10 state titles and somebody's like, hey, I need a running backs coach. Let's go. Like, it just doesn't, especially back then, like when your dad was doing
Yeah.
it. It's a little
There's
different now.
Yes, it is a little different now. There's only one option other than being a GA, and it's that you played in the NFL or, like you said, won 10 state titles wherever you are. Lane Kiffin was a GA. Everybody pays their dues.
Oh, Nick Saban, he was a
Yeah,
GA for multiple schools.
yeah,
And we talked about before, Mike Leach, he talked about,
yeah.
you know, it was at Iowa Wesleyan. Hey, I'm making $2,000 or $3,000, and his wife's like, "Oh, a month? That's awesome." He goes, "No, no, no, like $2,000 or $3,000 for the year, and that's it."
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was like, "We made it work. We had to, but some coaches lived off food stamps. Some coaches lived in the dorms, and so that's why I tell people, like, don't look at the money Lane Kiffin and them make. I like to look at other coaches. They make what, $100,000 a year, and you're like, I would love to coach college football for $100,000 a year. Some I know at Eastern they make like $50,000 a year, but to them that's making it. Like, that's it.
Yeah. 100%. And like, don't get me wrong, I fully believe in like if you love what you do, you work less days in your life. I don't believe the phrase like you work 0 days in your life, because some parts of life are just work. But yeah, making $100,000 doing something that you love is absolutely worth it. And I guess I didn't mean to turn it into this, but like if you're looking for happiness through money, you'll never find it. Like money does not bring happiness. But yeah, making 100K and doing what you love, and if that's coaching football, sounds phenomenal. But you are in years of debt, taking out loans for when you were a GA.
Yeah. And that's why I
Yeah,
think people aren't
go
doing
ahead.
it as much. I
Yeah,
mean, there are. I always hear how there are GAs, but I don't think it's quite the same as it used to be. That used to be, you know, especially if you didn't play college football or maybe you were whatever, that was the way in. I don't think it happens as much anymore. Like, I should have done that. You know, I should have gone that route, but I didn't. I was like, let me coach high school, and now I'll never do it. I got offered it when I was like 29, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing the GA thing at 29, 30 years old. Now I'm 35, and I've been offered. I know some guys, and I'm like, nope, because in my contract it's going to have to be you pay my mortgage every month. It's got to be that. Like, it's, you know, it's not
yeah,
happening.
yeah. I actually get quite a few DMs from guys saying like, "Hey, I get quite a few DMs that aren't like this, but I do also get a lot of DMs that are like, hey, yeah, if I want to be a GA, it's terrible.
Don't
Never
let
ever.
Coach Tujague know. Don't let him know.
My thing is, I can't believe you're sending that DM knowing who my dad is, but I digress. And my dad sees all my tweets. People say stuff, he sees the comments. Guys, like, chill out sometime.
I think I said
But
that to you once. I was like, number one, why would anybody say anything like that? That's the first problem. The second problem is do you not know who her dad is? Like, awesome. Like, he's awesome. He's awesome to me. You know, he saw the tweet, likes it, like, be on podcast, he promotes it, whatever. I'm like, but still, that guy's bigger than me, and I'm not doing that. Like, I don't get it.
That, like, as you said, like, my dad is I'm his biggest fan, but he is my biggest fan. And he sees all of the comments, all of the things, and people are wilding out sometimes. And I'm like, you guys, my dad is on here. And it doesn't matter even who my dad is. The fact that I say my dad is on here should mean we should just stop. People have no shame. I'm so concerned. Anyways.
Yes.
So anyways, back to the GA life. I do get a lot of DMs that are men who are like, what should I do if I want to be a GA? And I say 2 or 3 things, and I got directly from my dad. So if you are a man and you are interested in being a GA, this is directly from my father, who, if you don't know, is Savanah Tujague. He's the offensive line coach at NC State, hence my shirt, right? Utah State, because my brother plays there and my sister works for the football team there. But this is his best advice. First and foremost, I hate to be this person, but there is an age where you're too old to be a GA. And like you said no when you were 29. Yeah, you don't want to be a first year GA when you're 29. You especially don't want to be a GA for the first year when you're 29 years old if you got a wife and kids, because you make hardly anything and you won't be able to support them. Obviously, your wife can work, things can work, all the things, but like, you will be taking a massive, substantial pay cut, I would assume. And so very tough to get in at an age past graduating college or like a rookie contract in the NFL. Second, my dad talks about this all the time, is that not every woman is cut out to be a coach's wife. You need to find a woman who is very fine with basically raising a family by herself, is super independent, makes herself happy, and doesn't need your attention 24/7, because the life of a coach's wife is also not for everyone. And the last thing that he says is, like, you really gotta love it, because it's a grind. And you have to be so wholly obsessed with one thing that the fact that it took you till you were like 29 years old to figure out that you maybe wanted to pursue it means that you probably shouldn't have, because you should have probably thought about it when you were 21. And that's a general message that, like, hey, to every man in my DMs who's asked me this question and I haven't responded, that's my reply. And also to anybody who's looking to be a GA.
Yeah. Because, like I said, I took the long route, like, oh, I'll get there one day. And back then, it's probably the same now. We got to volunteer like during spring ball and stuff like that. And that was kind of my way into Eastern. So they even said it before, like, hey, come be a volunteer person. But even at that time, when you're like 20, 21, because I walked on there, got my ass kicked, and I was like, I'm not meant to play college ball. That's okay. I was making a $4,000 or $5,000 stipend coaching high school football. And I'm like, I'd rather have the 5,000 than nothing. And then it led to like getting paid for basketball, getting paid for track. So you're looking at, as a college kid, $10,000 to $15,000. Yeah, I'd rather take that.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't want to have regrets, but there's part of me there's always that part of you that's like, do it. So I've told people that too. Like, you better do it. If you're going to school and you're 18, 19 and you really love it, just start then. You're going to school, go volunteer with them. And that just leads to something.
Yes.
Because I can tell you right now, at the high school level, I've only been offered GA spots, but it's people that I know. It's not, I don't feel like I earned it. It's just people know. But like, you know, 25 through 35, been offered probably 6 times. I'm like, nope, not happening. It's, I love it. And I think I could do it, but it was just that, you know, whatever's going on in your life, you're like, I can't give that up. Like,
yeah. You bring up a good point too. The coaching world is a small world, and it does matter who you know. And you will likely only get jobs if you know the right people. And everyone's like, oh, that's nepotism. Okay, well, use nepotism to your advantage in any way that you can in any industry that you're in. But yeah, you have to know people. You have to have the right connections. You have to have your coaching tree that you came from. And the reason that it's so important that you know people if you want to be in that industry, in my opinion, is simply trust. because there's a lot of information that people talk about online that they know nothing about, and not a single coach on a single staff is going to give you any idea of what's actually happening because that circle of trust has been established.
Hmm. That's why when I do this podcast, I have coaches that put things out there, and then as soon as I hit the stop button, they're like, "No, let me tell you what really is happening,"
Yeah,
and it's funny. It's they'll tell the truth, especially nowadays, but there are certain things that they can't. And then as soon as we're done, it's like, "Here's the truth," and then my eyes get real big. I'm like, "Oh, this is what's happening," and it's like, "Yep, this is what's really going on."
yeah,
And especially with nowadays with the portal and stuff, they really tell me the deal, and I get really shocked, and I'm like, I'm the same way like you know more than I do, but I'll see it on Twitter, like, that's not what's going on. Or the best ones is these freaking Colorado posts like, "Oh my god, they're doing this." I'm like, every college program in America is doing this. What makes them so special? Because everybody's doing it. Every high school's doing it. So it's like, what makes this so like just
yeah,
Colorado?
yeah,
And I just watch these people post it. I'm like, this isn't what's really going on, or it's hilarious. It's hilarious. So like I said, you know more than I do, so I could say something stupid, but it's just like for the things that I do know, it's like it's so funny.
yeah. No, it's so funny. I think we talked about this last time, but yeah, people will be like, "No, you're wrong," and I'm just like, "Okay, fine." On the off chance I say what's actually happening, people love to tell me I'm wrong, so I just don't say anymore.
Or like
You know.
I'm sure you saw the SEMO football today where like 3 or 4 people are teeing off on the running back today. And I'm watching this happen and I'm like, what the hell is going on? But you got people saying how this builds toughness. I'm like, no, it doesn't. And something else that these people are posting, like, you're soft, like, this is football. And I'm like, I've coached football for 16 years and I don't recall ever having 4 people tee off on one kid ever. Like,
No, literally never. Like, what are we doing?
and I'm like, I've done that drill with like, hey, 4 versus 3. Like, you have 2 or 3
Yeah,
blockers and you have one guy unblocked. You got to make your way. We've done that
yeah,
before,
yeah.
but we've never done that. And you got people, all right, I already got attacked on there earlier. They were like, you don't know what you're talking about. And you're just a high school coach. And I'm like, okay, well, thanks.
You're like, fine, all right. It's not even worth the argument at that point. Yeah.
No, no. It, or the Syracuse coach, at Syracuse, they got to earn their number. This is ridiculous. I'm like, we all do that.
Yeah, well, it was funny that it became a big thing because I did see that the other day, and it's like Bronco Mendenhall has been doing that for like 10 years. You are not new. And a lot of people, I'm not saying he started it or like it was never a thing before that, but like this is not new. That happens very often. And matter of fact, Coach Mendenhall changed it this year because usually everybody has to re earn their number, but
Uh-huh.
he let players who returned keep their number to show like pride in the fact that you stayed, because these days you don't have to stay anywhere. You don't owe, apparently, as a college football player, you don't owe anybody any loyalty or anything, which, look, I get your bag, but also loyalty is an invaluable trait in life.
Yeah, we talked about that last time, and it's just not getting better. I was
No.
hoping because it was months ago. I was like, maybe something will happen, and it's just not
Yeah.
getting better. It's now getting political, where you have that meeting going on about how do we save this, and
Yeah.
then it becomes, well, a coach is leaving left and right, so then that's what the big argument has become. And I think we said this last time, but just to remind everybody, you want to be an adult, coaches make adult decisions. When they leave, they got to make a decision for families. They got to make this, they got to have a buyout. They have, like, there's a lot that goes on. As a player, you're just leaving because a coach yelled at you. You're just leaving because of this or that. So if you want to be an adult, there should be a buyout. There should be this. There should be that. Like, here we go. And that's what should happen.
Yeah. I I think it's interesting because a lot of people's argument online is like, oh, well, it's fine if coaches do it, so why isn't it fine if players just up and leave too? And it's just
Yeah.
like you said, it's just totally different things. I know it's technically both of their career, but being a college student is not the same thing as being like a father who is a head of a household who provides for a family.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, they're just not the same thing. And I guess maybe that's a hot take or a controversial take, but they're just not the same thing.
No, they're not. Um, and I get if a coach leaves after 1 year or something, I get it. It looks bad. Um, but mostly they pay that buyout. Most likely the other school is paying that or restructuring it. But that's the same thing that should be happening with these players if they're getting paid now through the school because of this revenue from the TV deals. There needs to be a buyout of like if you leave, like if you decide to go, you only get 60% of it or whatever it is. That's what happens to coaches.
Yeah.
And, coaches also get fired too. Like that's something else that's not talked about. If you're an assistant coach, you could get fired after not even a full year, just the season.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that either. Most assistant coaches' deals are only year to year. Like, if you're not the head coach and you have a deal that's like 2 years, you're part of a lucky few. Most assistant coaches' deals are year to year.
Mhm. They don't
So,
again, if you were to put that on social media, they'd say you're wrong because
correct.
but that's why they don't reveal assistant coaches deals. You only see head coach, OC, DC, maybe special teams, and that's really all you see.
Yeah.
Like you probably could find out easier than me, but I like most likely that O line coach has a year deal. If they do really well for 3 or 4 years, then they might get a 2-year contract and not a
Yeah.
huge pay raise like an OC would. But that's just the name of the game. But an OC, even though if they sign a 4-year deal, let's say they struggle in 2 years, they're going to fire them. Like, hey, you know
Yeah.
what? You're fired.
Yeah. Doesn't really matter what your contract is, to be honest, because if school doesn't want you, you're out.
Yeah, and but that's where these players. It's always happened. Like, hey, the scholarship was year to year.
Yeah.
You have to re-earn it. I saw a coach tear up a contract in front of a kid's face before, like, get out, like you're done.
Yeah.
And now they're afraid to do that anymore, I think, because of like they have to find a way to keep these players. And so I think that's kind of what it has to go to. And I think it's gonna go that way, but it just at some point it has to happen. And like, hey, if you don't perform well, you're gonna be fired. Go to the transfer portal. Or
Yeah, I also think like it just takes getting used to that these college kids have all this money. And I mean that from like a standpoint of my brother. Like I'll always call him and be like, "Do you need money?" He's like, "What, Savannah? No." And I'm like, "Oh, I really needed money in college. No one
yeah,
was offering me money in college and I would have taken it. I would have taken that shit in a heartbeat. I was broke." And so I'm like, "Okay." And then I was out with some players of not my dad's players, some other players. That sounds ominous. I'm just trying to keep their identity
mhm,
like ambiguous. And they were like, I was like, "Oh, let me buy everybody around." And they were like, "No, no, no, Savannah, we got it." And I'm like, "You know what? You actually do got it. You're not wrong. You go ahead. You pay for it. You're not wrong." It was so funny. They were all over 21, disclaimer, all the things. But yes, I'm just trying to keep their identity not not given. Sorry. So yeah, but it was funny. I was like, "Oh yeah, you guys have money. Never mind. Buy the round."
yeah, buy the rest of it. I don't need to even whip
Yeah.
out the card, nothing. You
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah. It
because
was
I
funny.
even because I remember being a walk on, and there was a rule of the athlete. Like if you had a group in a class and you went out to eat somewhere, the athlete could buy the food for everybody, but if they bought you the food, it was like tampering. But then you're also
Mhm.
like, well, I can't afford this either. So back then, and then uh,
Yeah.
college.
What?
So like that, like I remember the head coach can only feed you like once a week. Like here's a full on meal. If he tried it again, that was against the NCAA rules of like you can only provide so much food.
Yeah, there is definitely still a rule about that because my dad's only allowed to feed his players so often as well. And if he goes more than that, they have to pay to come to dinner or something. I'm not sure what the specifics are. I really am not. Do not quote me on that. But I do know he can only feed him so many times. And outside of that, technically his players have to pay to come. Or like at BYU, a lot of my dad's players were married and their like wives had to pay because it was just not BYU rules. This is like NCAA bizarro,
Yeah,
how they roll, weird rules. Yeah, it's very very interesting how the whole thing works. But yes, I worked at a restaurant in college and I would give players free food all the time, which is illegal.
but it's stupid. Like it doesn't.
And again, this is when we were all broke college athletes. This isn't now where they can afford food. This was like really, we weren't eating if we weren't taking leftover food from this restaurant.
Yeah, you already used your meal plan for the week or something at the dorm, and it was like
Yes.
couldn't even afford to go on a date to the movies, stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%. I'll never forget when I was in college. Me and my boyfriend at the time had $0. And his mom was like, I'll send you money to go out to dinner. And he was like, and it wasn't just him, it was me too. My account was overdrawn. So, like, I don't want this to be on him, right? And she was like, I'll just send you $50. And he's like, you're going to have to send me like 200 because it's only going to cover what's overdrawn if you send me $50 or whatever. And I'm just like, we had literally no money. And I look, were we the most responsible with our money and things like that? No, probably not. But like, we did not have money at all.
No,
So
no. And then that
hilarious.
summer money didn't last very long when you came back to school. It did not
No,
last long.
no, 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 no. We made money from like summer camps. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're put to work all day. You're babysitting little kids all day on the football field. You know?
I Right, I had to work in college. I remember working in the food court, and then I was a bouncer. Like, you just had to do it.
Yeah,
I didn't know any better,
yeah,
uh, and it sucked because people would be a Thursday night, "You wanna go do something?" "Nope, I gotta work, I'm a bouncer." Like,
yeah,
"Oh, Steve,
yeah,
it's Saturday night. Homecoming." "Nah, I gotta work. Sorry." And
yeah. Just
I'll roll home with
very,
400 bucks while you guys are all passed out. I think I'm the real winner here. Like, I'm rolling in with 400.
yeah, just very different times. But yeah, now those college athletes, man, they can afford all the rounds
Oh, yeah, I mean, good for them. I mean, it's
for
it's
sure,
whatever. Uh,
for sure.
but it's always funny talking to people like your dad or other people that played college ball. They're like, "Man, I can't believe it. Back when I just watched it with Brian Urlacher. He was like, I was poor. Like, I'm this he's like, I was a good college football player and I was poor. I had to call my mom for quarters to use for the laundry machines and stuff." He was like, I can't believe it. His son's playing
Yeah,
college and he's like, he doesn't have to ask me for money.
yeah.
That's Oh,
Like
I hope my
the other,
son gets that.
yeah, no, like last night I was on the phone with my brother and he's like, I really want to go to Crumble. And I'm like, okay, yeah, like I could have so I sent it to him, right? Because I try to like help my siblings where I can, just because like I can, right?
Right.
And so I order it for him. But like when I was in college, I couldn't have afforded Crumble. Those cookies are like $40. What?
Even now I consider stuff like that. You question it now. Like,
Yeah,
should I pay that much?
100%. I am not a struggling college student today, and $40 on crumble cookies for myself, never happening. For my brother, absolutely anytime, anything he wants. But like for me, I am not doing that.
No, after college, you're like, should I spend the $10 on this pizza? Like,
Yeah.
and kids,
So
this was back when we had cash. You had to count the cash and be like, do I have, who's got one? Like, there was no
yeah.
card.
Yeah. Totally. Totally.
Or like,
Ugh.
oh, it's a 15-minute walk. We'll just walk. Now I'm like, oh, I could drive there in 3 minutes. I'm driving.
100% couldn't afford gas, so I would walk. 1000%.
Well, you can't afford a gas now. It's for something. Still can't.
I do have a Tesla, so I don't know anything about gas prices.
Whatever. It's
All I do is charge it to my electric bill. So, you know. Yeah.
well, let me tell you, it's like 440 in case you were interested.
Yeah, I mean that sounds expensive. It's expensive in California, but it's always expensive there, so I don't really have much to compare it to.
Because my best friend lives in Tampa and he's considering getting a Tesla.
Yeah, tell him to hit me up. I'll tell him the pros and the cons.
Yeah, he works at a VA, so he's like, I can get it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. What else? What else we got?
I don't know. Like I said, it's all over the place.
I
I don't know
love
if I
it.
asked you. I don't know if I remember asking you BYU because you went to BYU. Me
I
and my
did.
buddy growing up always the Mormons, right? Like you always just kind of
Yeah.
poked fun, but you're like 12 years old. You don't know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Then the older you get, you make fun of them like they can't drink Coke, and it was always something or cat or whatever.
Hmm.
What? How true is all this BS that we were hearing when we were 12 and we were 15, and then I got older. I was like, there's no reason to make fun of BYU. I like BYU. Actually, I'm like, I love their uniforms. I love their coaches. What's wrong with BYU and stuff like that? I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah. No, that's a great question. I think my best advice, if people ever want to know the truth about the LDS Church, is to ask people who are active members of it who practice it daily. There's a lot of opinions about Mormonism. There's a lot of things out there about Mormonism. And I would just say that, like, if you genuinely do want to know if it's coming, like, if you genuinely do want to know, like, oh, you guys can't drink Coke, which is not a thing. That I recommend just asking someone who is actively practicing it, because yeah, there's a lot of people out there pushing other narratives for sure. So that's my best advice. And no, there are things I loved about BYU. There was things I hated about BYU. The longer I've been graduated from that university, the more I appreciate the things that I learned while I was there. It's a private university, so the curriculum can be different. It's not like super different. I still had to do all the same normal stuff, but like, I don't know, I had a class where they like made me build a website, and I'm like, what am I, you're 20 years old and you're like, this is freaking stupid, right? And now it's
Mhm.
like one of the best things that I've ever done. I also speak Spanish and French fluently. And when I was at BYU, in order for me to be able to double major in French and Spanish linguistics with broadcast journalism, they made me take like my translator's test. Like you cannot have this written on your degree unless you're a certified translator in these languages. And I'm like, that's stupid. Like, why do I have to do that? And now I could go translate. Let's say every shit hit the fan, right? I
Mhm.
could just go be a translator, and translators make damn good money. And so I
Mhm.
will say the further I am away from having graduated from there, the more I appreciate it. But BYU was a tough time in my life, and for a long time I had a lot of bitterness and hate towards that university. My brother no longer goes there, but my brother's first year of college, he played football there. And I decided that I just needed to put my hate aside because I'll always choose rooting for my family. And, I'm really happy he's not there anymore. I'm really glad that he's not. And he is he's happy. I don't want to speak for him, but I know that he's happy in his current situation. But I think that the real reason that he went there was so that I would get over my hatred of having gone there. And so now I'm very indifferent. Had some great times. I had some of the worst times of my life, but I think that's just life. I don't think that's BYU. So
Yeah, so like again, when I'm talking about when we're talking crap about BYU, we didn't have internet, so whatever you heard, you were just
yeah,
like, oh, you know,
for sure.
whatever. You know,
Yeah, no, I totally hear you.
AOL dial up, you didn't know any better. And
Yeah, absolutely.
um it was just curious because like I went to a a public university, and it's just I don't know how different they were because like where I grew up, there was no private high schools, there was no nothing like that, and
Yeah.
now I'm in the Chicago suburbs. They're all over the place, so you hear a bunch of things. We get transfers back from private schools, and they're like, they tell us what goes on, and it's like, okay, I get it, but not every place is probably like that. And so I was just curious how like going to a place like BYU was, and you
Yeah,
know,
you got to sign the honor code. And was I the best at keeping the honor code? I plead the fifth because I am still nervous that that university could revoke my degree. But I'll say this, it's optional. Like you don't have to go to BYU. You don't have to sign the honor code and like accept the terms and conditions of it. Is that school for everybody? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But you do agree to it of your own free will and choice. So when you
mhm,
inevitably get in trouble for not following it,
mhm.
like I have, I do unfortunately understand. Now, do I think that there's things that I wish that they would change about it? Absolutely. That's a very deep conversation for a not so lighthearted sports podcast. But yeah, no, there's definitely some interesting things and like things that again, this has to stem from my beef with the whole university that I've decided to put aside. But yeah, it's tough. I'll say this though, you know what? BYU's really freaking cheap. It's like $3,000 a semester. And so whether you have a scholarship or you don't, obviously other athletic scholarships aren't 100% like football is. So like you graduate college essentially with zero debt, and it's very nice.
How can they keep it so cheap?
It's subsidized by like LDS members of the church paying their tithing.
Oh, I was gonna say I'll go to BYU right now if it's. I'll go back.
Yeah,
I'll go
it
be a
is.
GA there. Give up everything. Here we go.
Yeah, their master's programs aren't so cheap, but undergrad is fairly cheap. And I don't know if that's the exact number today, but I would imagine it's still somewhere relatively close to like I certainly under $10,000. But when I went to BYU, it was like $2,400 a semester, which comparatively at that time, being a Southern California native, USC was like 68 a
Uh huh.
semester.
Uh huh.
So even if it's $10,000 a semester now, it's still very cheap compared to other universities.
I see. I didn't know all that. I think it's because when I became a dad, and this is a sports podcast. I know, but it's kind of everywhere. I started to look at religions. It was like I'm a dad now, and all of a sudden your mind switches, and you're like going back to it, and like I'm buying books and trying to read on this. So one of the things you look up is Mormon, and I'm like, well, BYU. I'm a sports fan. Let's look at BYU, and then you see the documentaries on Netflix, the Mormon this, the Mormon that, and you're like, I don't think this is everybody, right? Like this is not everybody,
Correct.
and so
Correct.
that's where that came from. It was like
Yeah.
I'm researching everything, and it's
Yeah.
that, and I thought about it, so that's why I'm not getting you in trouble.
No,
was just
you're
curious.
fine. I actually really, really appreciate and love the question. It's that I haven't been asked that, and I'm glad I got to talk about it. So no, totally.
Yeah, it's just religious stuff. I just used to be religious, then you kind of go to college, and it kind of stops, and then you become a dad, and you're like, well, wait a minute, and all of a sudden, some switches in your brain, and
Yeah.
you know.
No,
So
I totally believe you. And you know what? All of our journey with God is individual to us, and He's the only one who can judge us and knows the pure intents of our heart. And I think that that's what's important. So you'll figure it out.
oh, maybe one day I'll figure it out.
Hey, same.
Because when you're growing up, it wasn't the cool thing. So that's kind of where it comes back to was you're a football player. That's not cool. You know, it wasn't the cool thing to do. Then you go to
Yeah,
college, really wasn't the cool thing to do, especially little town of Charleston where EIU is. Nope. Like that's not what you did. And
yeah,
then still, even around adults, it's like they don't talk about it. They keep it to themselves. And then I had a son, so I started asking other people at school, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we go. What questions you got?" Same thing happened to me when we had our kids. It flipped, and I was like, "Okay, like
yeah,
let's figure this out."
yeah. I don't think that at any phase of life it's particularly cool to be religious. Especially if you're from LA. Like it's not very cool to be religious when you live in Los Angeles and grow up there. But I think, like I said, it matters having your own relationship with God and Christ. And if it's not cool that I like believe in Jesus and that He is like my savior, then I don't really care about being that cool because that is more important to me,
Mhm,
honestly. So
mhm, mhm. I
yeah,
agree. I agree. That's why I put podcast episodes out about it because I thought about it. But then what
yeah,
happens is my students know I have a YouTube thing, so they find it.
yeah.
Then I walk in and they make fun of you, and then I look at them like,
Okay.
I'm not gonna repeat
That's
what.
what all phases of life are for some other group to keep you humble. So hey, you just got to take that one.
Yeah, I take it. I just look at them. I'm in a special program, and they just look at me and say something. I'm like, and that's why you're here. And they're like, shut up.
That's awesome. That's so funny. I have my siblings to keep me humble.
Oh yeah, because I got to watch the bowl game, and I remember I was like, "Where's 2J at?" I was looking for him. I'm like, "Where is he at?"
Yeah. No, they definitely I mean, I'm going to be honest. I say crazy things to my family like just to get a reaction out of them because I want to see what my siblings will say. So, I do it mostly in good fun and joking, but they definitely keep me humble. They definitely keep me humble. It's very funny to have a brother and a sister and just like the differences. Like I'll never forget I was like, Kirsten, my sister has dark hair. Matter of fact, that's my sibling. This is a very old picture, but my sister has dark hair. And so I'm like, Kirsten, what if I just like let my hair grow out and had dark hair? And all of a sudden, this 18, he's 22 now, but like this 18, 20-year-old boy had the most opinions about hair I've ever heard in my whole life. And he was like, absolutely not, Selena. You cannot do that. That would not look good. Like you would not be attracting the men that, and I'm like, oh, damn. Okay. Forget I ever asked. It was so hysterical. It was literally hilarious. I was like, okay, well, I will never be letting that happen, apparently. So it's very funny. Very funny.
I'm an
He
only
does have
child.
opinions.
I'm an only child. I
But
don't know what that's like.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's funny. It's very funny. And
Well, that's
he
where
grew up with two sisters, so he kind of gets
yeah.
it.
Well, that's where my
Yeah.
best friend that lives in Tampa. We grew up. He was kind of that guy. Like, Steve, is that really what you're going to do? And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I have one of my best friends. We've been friends since we were 4 years old. Same, she's an only child, so I'm that person for her. I hear ya.
Well, that's who he is. But he's a guy that's really bad with his phone. So if I called him today, tomorrow, and the next day, he won't answer. And then just randomly in June, hey, I saw you called me. Like, no, that was months ago.
I'm unfortunately him in this same situation. I'm like, oh, sorry, I just forgot. I spend my whole day on my phone trying to like post content. So the last thing I want to do is be on my phone longer, you know.
That's true. He's just an ass when it comes to that.
That's so funny. Yeah, no, I try to. specifically create time to not be on my phone. And so I'm a big reader. That's what I do.
Yeah, I made a point this spring break to read a book every 2 days.
Ooh,
Um,
what do we read?
I read where did I put it? This book called Stop Overthinking.
Okay.
I can't read, like, fiction books. I don't have the this and then I started this one this morning, The Practice of Groundness. Like,
I have read that. I do like that. You should read It Takes What It Takes by Trevor Moawad. It's one of my favorite books in that like genre category. Um all of the examples and like analysis is football related too, so it's really good. He passed away, may he rest in peace, but when he was alive, he was Russell Wilson's like mental strength
uh-huh,
coach.
uh-huh.
Great book. Great book.
Yeah, my problem is I have a ton I have to read, but then when I start coaching, I'm like,
Oh,
I
for sure.
just I just don't have time. Well, let
Yeah.
me I do have time, but I make excuses. Like I said, if it's 7:30 and he's asleep, I'm like, I just want to unwind and
Yeah. Yeah.
just because I
No,
work
very
30 minutes
simple.
away, so I get up early. It's just
Yeah. No, I read 100 books a year, and I everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, you're reading so much right now." Well, yeah, because once it's football season, I read like maybe 6 books total. You know, it's not like I got it to hit the goal. I have to read 100 books before August.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I don't have time once it's August. So, yeah, just funny. But yeah, hear you.
Um, I meant to ask you this, like, what other you're a content creator. What's all the stuff you make? Like, I know you talked about writing for 49ers and stuff. Like, what, like, how do you end up doing all that? Like, what do you do? How do you end up finding that job and stuff like that?
Yeah. So I do write for the 49ers. Yes, I love that. Super fun. If you don't know, like my degree is in sports broadcast journalism. It was in print journalism first. Sports broadcast journalism like became a thing the very last semester I had of college. And so it really was print journalism, and I love to write. I'm a reader, I'm a writer, right? So it's been very fun to write for the 49ers. And I do love that. How do you become a content creator? I will say this. First of all, just start posting the stuff. You never like people love to come up with excuses like, oh, the video quality wasn't good enough, or this wasn't good enough, or that wasn't good enough. Just post it. You never know what's gonna hit. And if you put 100 things in a bucket that I had like tweeted or like posted on TikTok, and you told me to pick out the 5 that were going to go viral, I'd pick wrong every single time. You just never know what will hit. So just post the content. If it's not perfect, who cares? Post it. How did this happen? Basically, kind of just did social media like for fun, like everyone, as like my escape. And then I'm a very like deeply intrinsically motivated person. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to make this a competition with myself and see what I can do. And someone basically, I always believed in myself, but someone basically said, like, Savannah, I think you're actually really, really good at this and you can totally do this like full time. You have what it takes, like you have all the pieces that you need, like you're better than you think you are at this. And so for some reason that like belief really hit home, and I was like, let's see what I can do. And so yeah, it's beautiful, especially if you were like an ex-athlete, because it's one of those things where like I feel like a lot of athletes have this in common where you like feel this thing of like it will never be enough. Like you're always
Mhm.
trying to achieve more, and like you're done being an athlete and it's like, well, what do I achieve next? And like with social media and content creation, there's always another milestone to be made. And so I think that it's very much like, okay, well, I'm always chasing that next milestone. That really keeps me like motivated and disciplined, right? And so I think there's that. And yeah, it just kind of happened. It just kind of happened, you know? Whatever's meant to be will always be. And so the right, combination of hard work and luck and it being God's plan for me, just kind of right whirlwind happened, and so that's kind of how it happened. But yeah, I post content obviously on Twitter, on TikTok, and YouTube. But more often than not, I am guest on people's YouTube channel type podcasting stuff.
Mhm.
I host my own during football season, kind of working on the logistics of all that going forward. So won't say too much now, but definitely have things in the works.
Yeah, you're like my Pac-12 person or ACC person, not Pac-12, ACC.
Yeah, ACC is perfect. I pretty much every single weekend watch every single ACC game for sure. Obviously, it's the conference I'm most familiar with. My loyalty lies to the conference that's paid my dad's salary for the last 15 years.
Which respect, you have to. Like,
Yeah, yeah. It's so funny because people will be like, "Oh, you're just an NC State fan because they pay your dad." Yeah, no shit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What do you mean? Well, yeah, you caught me. I know.
God forbid that's who you have to like. That's who you're rooting for.
Like oh my gosh, no way. That's news to me. I don't know what they want my response to be when they say that. I'm like, yeah.
You're like, no, you're right. I'll go root for. Oh, they're playing Clemson this week. Go Clemson! Like, beat my dad.
Like, it's not gonna happen. I'm so confused. And they're like, you're not a real fan. I'm sorry. I would consider myself far more than a fan. My parents' livelihood depends on the outcome of NC State games. Does yours? No.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's hysterical. They're like, you're not a real fan. I'm sorry. Explain to me what a real fan is then. Because
Well, then I'm just as bad because every coach that's come on here, I root for that whatever school they go to because I like the coach.
Of course. That's what we all do. You think that like every week when I pick teams that I'm like rooting for, first of all, let's start here. Watching sports in general is always more fun when you just pick a team to root for that's playing, whether you
Right.
have a skin in the game or not. So like quite frankly, I'm probably going to pick a team every single game regardless of if I care about the teams or not. I know a lot of football coaches. I'm rooting for their teams. If they're not playing my dad or my brother, I'm probably rooting for them.
Right.
It's really that simple.
Like, I'll just say your dad because you're here, but like if your dad were to get another job and I found out where it was, I'd probably start rooting for that school because your dad was awesome to me. So it's like, hey, I like him. That's who I'm rooting for. Like,
100%. Yeah.
unless they're playing Illinois, because I grew up an Illinois fan. If they're playing Illinois, I would send your dad a nice message. Hey, sorry, ILL baby or something, and he'd probably laugh, but like that's just what it is.
100%. People are like, oh, are you going to be a Michigan? First of all, the coaching world is small, and your coaching staff is like your family because you spend a hell of a lot of time with them, even if you're a coach's family, right? Because I think we talked about this last time too, but like I spend my Thanksgiving with the whole coaching staff and their family. I spend my whole Christmas with the coaching staff's family because while they're out at practice for the bowl game, the only other people that I have here with me is other coaches' families. And so those people are like my family. My dad coached with the same staff at the University of Virginia for 10 years. You think those people don't mean the world to me? Okay, they're like, I've always been a lifelong Michigan State fan. It's a funny story, and I don't know if I've told it. I'm happy to. But they're like, oh, are you going to be a Michigan fan now? Because the whole staff is people that I went to college with that are my friends from college and like people that I've known from the college football coaching world my whole life. Hell yeah, I'm rooting for Michigan now. Like, what do you mean? I've known the Becks my entire life. Of course I'm rooting for Jason Beck to absolutely kill it at Michigan. That's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the OC at in Division III, they just went to Drake. I sent him a message like, I guess I'll root for Drake now because I liked him. Like, hey, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And Babers, when he left and went to Bowling Green. I was like, well, I got to root for Bowling Green because me and him got along.
Yeah.
Went to Syracuse because I'm Syracuse. Like, it just
Yeah.
happens.
100%. No, it's just the way that it is. You're always rooting for people that did well by you when they were with you and are on to their next step or whatever the case might be. So, yeah, no, it's just funny. And obviously, I am worked up, like, sound worked up about it. But the truth of the matter is, it's just like, it's a life that most people don't know and will never understand. And so, like, this is hopefully a little window of that life to those people who care about understanding it a little bit better. So,
Well, they don't want to take the time to know, or they don't want to
yeah,
understand,
yeah, for sure. For
or
sure.
it's the born and raised fan, and when somebody jumps on, they're like, "Well, you're not like me." But as a
Yeah.
fan, you kind of want more fans, I would think. That's just a thought.
You, you that's also my thought. I am like, try to recruit everyone to be an NC State fan. I don't care if you're a bandwagoner or not. Like, yes, come hang out, come to a game. Let me show you the environment. It's the best. I don't care
Oh,
who
I'm
you are.
like I said, because of your dad, I started rooting for him, and I started paying attention, and I'm like, oh, I always knew the head coach, but like watching it, I'm like, oh, like
Yeah,
that's why I watched the bowl game this year. I was like, I have to watch the bowl game.
yeah.
And you guys had a TV appearance. I was like, I know who that is.
That's hysterical. That's so funny. Yeah, no, 100%. It's especially too, you want to root for those people because you know what it takes to
Mhm.
win, to go one. And I am my father's daughter, so all the coachisms are alive and well in my house. You know what it takes to go 1-0 every week, and you know that it's very freaking hard. And so you'll always be rooting for the people that matter to you that are in that industry because you know what they're going through. So
Yeah, and I know in college, it's a slim thing. Like the coaches that have been a coach at one school for 5 to 10 years, they're
yeah,
super lucky. Like they're, you know,
yeah,
if I don't know when I see coaches at a lot of places a long time, I'm like either it's they're good at what they do, and it also means the head coach is good at what they do, and the university is behind them, like understanding, like, hey, we're going to keep letting you do this, and you're going to figure it out. So
mm-hmm.
when a staff is together for so long, and I start looking at them, I'm like, I'm going to look and see what they're doing and respect what they do, and I'm going to root for them. Like when I was a kid, you didn't. When you're a kid, you're like, just this team or this team. Then you get older, it's okay. Except
Yeah,
for all the, we have all teams we hate. Like I hate Ohio State. I'll never root for Ohio State in anything. I respect the coaches. I just won't root for them. I just won't root for the team.
100%. You wouldn't catch me dead rooting for UNC ever. And everyone's like, oh, what if your dad coaches there? You guys think my dad would coach there after all the shit I've talked about UNC online? Come on
Well,
now.
he also made a comment when he was on here with me, so I don't think he.
Yeah, that man's not coaching at UNC. I feel confident enough that I can publicly say I don't believe that that man is going to be coaching at UNC.
He said something about I can't remember. It wasn't bad. It was he can't say he couldn't say their name. He was like that team down the road here,
Yeah,
whatever. He just
100%.
couldn't. He was
Disgusting. And look, everyone's like, oh, wow, you're so into the rivalry. And it's like, to be fair, UVA and UNC are also rivals. So I've hated
you
UNC for a very long time. But also, if you knew the personal attacks that people and individuals and the coaching staffs that have been there in the past and even their newspaper have done to me, you would understand that I actually really have hatred towards them in my heart for things that have happened with various entities relating to that university. So,
like I said, I have no more skin in the game. I don't know any coaches there, so I'm clear.
oh,
I'm
yeah, no,
clear.
no, no. And you know, there's a coach on NC State staff. He's one of the defensive guys. He was at UNC like 2 years ago. It's nothing against any individual that's like there at this point. Or like I don't have time to harbor hate, but if I have a chance to talk crap about UNC, I'm absolutely gonna take it. That's all I'll say.
Love it.
Yeah.
One of the last things to say to you is, how's it like being a basketball fan now? Because last time, no, 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 no. And then all of a sudden I start seeing it and I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
The basketball fandom was short-lived, and it was just because we were on a winning streak, right? I had like base Bull Durham quote of the century: respect the streak. I was respecting the streak. So I had to keep watching the games. I will say this. I know some of the players now pretty well from NC State this past year, and I love them. I literally love them. They're so easy to support and root for. They're such good people. Um, but yeah, it's just basketball will never be for me. I watched the start of March Madness. I didn't watch the ones this weekend except for the like Duke upset. I don't even remember. I think UConn beat them.
Yeah. Yep.
Which was insane, by the way. And I watched like Utah State to lose to Arizona, things like that. But it's just not for me.
I thought it was there. I thought it was there.
No, I like baseball a lot more. And now it's baseball season. I'll probably watch the like basketball national championship game. I think I've said this before too. For someone who doesn't like basketball, I sure as hell have been to a lot of March Madness games in real life. But yeah, it's just kind of we're not at a complete odds anymore. Now it's just kind of
It's a baby steps. It's baby steps.
Yeah. Exactly.
But it's also overwhelming. There's so many games. Like football, there's not like I get it because like I'm coaching or I coach basketball. Not anymore, but I did. I couldn't watch the games, so like the times I can, I do. But also, there's one of the games was at 9:08 at night. I'm like, why is this on at 9:08 at night?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Like at least football, you're like, okay, 11 a.m. or whatever, all the way up to like 6 p.m. There's a break in there somewhere, but like, so I get it why people are like, I can't watch it. I grew up watching basketball. I hate the NBA, so I can't stand the NBA, but it's college basketball is more electric, so I refer to that. Especially because Illinois is in the Final Four, so I have to kind of.
I am happy for you. Who else is in the Final Four? UConn? Is Arizona?
Arizona and Michigan.
That's right.
Michigan is very good. They are very good.
I do know that Michigan is very good. There's a couple things I know. I do know that they're very good, and I do know that Arizona is very good. I don't know, and I know that UConn's historically good. I don't really know much about Illinois.
If you want a quick 30-second rundown, Illinois sports always go like this.
Of course.
So it's very tough to be a fan.
Yes.
Basketball's always kind of been, growing up, it was always here. Football was below it. Besides the Rose Bowl year, that was awesome. Juice Williams upsetting Ohio State.
Yeah.
But basketball was always there. They went to the Final Four in 2005. They went 32-1 up until the national championship game. They only lost to Ohio State once. They were down to Arizona by like 20 points in the final 6 minutes and won. This was my hatred for North Carolina. They beat Illinois in the national championship in that. So that started it.
Perfect.
Like Michael Jordan was there at that game and his stuff. I'm like, I love Michael. That was my hatred of like North Carolina from that moment.
Yeah.
Of that. And Illinois hasn't been back to the Final Four since. So this is the first time since 2005. They had a couple good seasons right after that season. And then they had years not making the tournament, blah, 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 blah. They hired Brad Underwood in 2017. Couple years where they're whatever, and then COVID hit. That COVID year, they could have maybe won the national championship.
Hey, I hear you, because that's the same thing that happened with NC State baseball. They should have won the Natty that year and couldn't play in the College World Series because of COVID.
Yeah, so but Brad Underwood, since Illinois has the most basketball wins in the past 5 years of any Big Ten school, like
Nice.
stuff like that.
Nice.
They've struggled though. They'll get to the first round, they get to the second round. Was it last year? It was their third like elite. I don't know. They're figuring it out.
So
What's funny in the coaching world is the fans wanted him fired like a couple years ago, and I had to tell them like, do you not remember from like 2009 up until this point of like how bad we were? And so they want him fired. Well, now I'm watching the same people post, oh, Brad Underwood's so underrated. They get to the Final Four. And I'm like, weren't you just calling for him to be fired like 3 years ago?
yes. The same people that shit on Coach Dorn every day, suddenly he's a savior because he's loyal to NC State, unlike Will Wade. Suddenly he is the greatest football coach of all time. But 3 weeks ago, everyone hated Dave. Yeah, that's just how it is. Just how it is.
Like I talked to you with your dad about, like ever since he got to NC State's like a tough football team, and that's what they build on.
Mm-hmm.
And like every college football team, you're gonna beat teams you're not supposed to. You might lose to a team you're not supposed to. You know, Illinois football, horrible. Bielema comes, his second year, they have a really good year. The third year, we took a step backwards.
Yeah.
They wanted him fired. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. Do you not remember where we were under Lovie Smith and the year before that? And like,
yeah. My biggest like question for people whenever they say that they want somebody fired. And look, I want it to be clear. I will never be on the side of rooting for coaches of any sport to be fired just because that feels like bad karma, right? But I understand sometimes there is a point for you to move on from coaches or for coaches to just move on in their life, right? But whenever people are like, I want blank fired. Okay, this is my next question. Who are you getting instead, right? Because like you want Coach Dorn fired. Fine, I'll hear you out. I disagree, but I'll hear you out. Who are you getting instead? And then they never have an answer. And so it's like, okay, so what was the point of all of this? None. There wasn't one. No. So same thing, exact same thing here. It's like you wanted him fired, now you love him, and who are we gonna get instead?
Well, that's the fandom. Like when another thing they don't realize is when college programs usually fire a coach, they already kind of know who they're gonna get.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
They don't make those decisions without a plan.
Well, and usually coaches know they're getting fired also. Like people like, oh, this is a blind. No, he probably knew he was getting fired a week ago.
Yeah, they just didn't make it public for a week.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, he was blind. That's why I can't watch ESPN stuff. They're blindsided. No, he probably got told 2 weeks ago that, hey, if you don't win this game or this doesn't happen, you are fired.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It just comes, and it just comes with the territory, but yeah, 100% they know.
Well, and fans are like, fire the coach so we can get the next Nick Saban. There is no next Nick Saban. Like, just stop.
No, there isn't. Yeah. Especially in this era of college football, there's definitely no next Nick Saban.
No. Or they wanted Dabo Sweeney when he won. Like, but remember, that was before the transfer portal, and now look what's happened. Like, stuff like that. Like, it's not going to happen. Or they see they get Dan Lanning. Like, guys, just stop. Like, there's 10 of these guys floating around.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Last thing for you. How's NC State football looking?
I always try to be low key about NC State. I like to keep us super off the radar, but things are going great. Spring ball is good. There was a couple players who had surgery after the season. And they're not participating in spring ball, obviously, but like their recoveries are going well and they'll be good to go when the season actually starts. Knock on wood, no injuries so far in spring ball. We love to hear it. We love to keep it that way. I mean that for every program. I hate seeing people get injured. So here's to everybody's, spring ball ending with 0 injuries. Yeah, it's going well. Their last practice is this Friday. So they're almost done with spring ball. Yeah.
Nice. I really like their quarterback.
I love CJ Bailey. Yeah. He's awesome. Yeah, he's great. Everyone always talks about the jump from being a true freshman starter to a sophomore starter, but I would just imagine probably not a bigger jump just because it was a huge jump, but like the quarterback that you hope to see out of CJ Bailey being here for 3 years in the system for 3 years, and just a true junior, like I think people will be pleasantly surprised and impressed.
Yeah, I only got to watch him once or twice the regular season, and then in the bowl game, I was like, "Oh, he was like locked in." I'm watching him how tall he is and stuff. I was like, "I like
Yeah.
this guy."
Yeah. Yeah, he like I said, I know that players want to get their bag. But at NC State, they value loyalty, and CJ Bailey is a perfect example of that. And he said it multiple times: "Love who loves you." NC State's loved me since day one, and so I feel the same about it. It's not his exact words; it's pretty close. And so I'm grateful to have a kid like that be my QB1.
Oh, I loved it. Loved
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Because again, I try to pay attention. They didn't lose a lot of kids, and
yeah,
and getting a lot of kids, and
yeah,
kind of like U of I, they don't lose people. They kind of keep people. That's why like people hate Brent Bielema, but I like him. He's keeping guys around, and
yeah,
uh, that's why Luke Altmaier stayed. He got offered lots of money from Tennessee, and he's like, "Nope, Brent Bielema's had my back. I'm staying."
yeah, 100%. Yeah, those things will become rarer and rarer these days, and so I'll always take the time to shout out kids who are loyal nowadays, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you coming back.
Of course, anytime. Love chopping it up.
Absolutely.